Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I could read people's minds. It would solve so many problems. I could know who wanted to date me, know any test answer, and I'd be able to talk to anybody. If I could read minds, my life would be so much better. But what if I told you you're already a mind reader and you have all the tools at your disposal? You just need to know how to use them properly. Now, we all know the 5 senses: seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, and tasting. But we have a 6th sense within us. This is our ability to mind read. There's a reason why you know when someone is hurting by the face they're making. It's why you feel embarrassed when you mess up during a presentation, or how you can make guesses on how a person will react to a gift. We're wired to notice this because we're social creatures. We're mind readers by nature. So let's go over the tools we have at our disposal. First is recognition. This is the theory of mind, which is our ability to understand that others have beliefs, desires, and intentions, and how we use our understanding to predict and explain their behavior. This skill is developed in childhood and is our brain's switch that turns on mind reader mode. Now, the system isn't perfect, as we sometimes describe inanimate objects, or non-human animals, as being conscious in the same way as ourselves. That's why you get upset at your dog for peeing on the couch, when it's obvious that it doesn't understand you. Your dog's reaction of putting its head down is a learned behavior. It's not made by a rational mind, but an animal following basic instincts and behaving in line with them. Same goes for when our car breaks down or our phone stops working. Only when things disobey or act unexpectedly do we think it has a mind of its own. And the same applies for people. When a family member of yours says something that bothers you, you wonder to yourself, how could they possibly think that way? It makes no sense. Because it evokes a strong emotion within you, it prevents the recognition switch from turning on. Thus, you forget you're dealing with another person who has their own way of thinking, and that this person needs to be recognized as someone capable of thinking in whatever way they choose. So our own egos get in the way of remembering that we are talking to other conscious beings, and our need to control our environment develops into a rejection of other people, a dehumanization. Because when someone does something or thinks in ways you don't agree with, it's easier to shut them out than to understand them. And of course, this has major ramifications for how we discuss politics or how we talk about social issues. If someone believes something that you disagree with, it doesn't matter whether you're left-leaning or right-leaning. It can be challenging to understand their viewpoint because it feels so different. Because we're so familiar with our mind, we're biased to think that it's the most reliable source of logic and sensibility, when we are just as capable as anyone else to be guided by misinformation and strong emotional reactions. So we need to control when the switch gets activated. When you're talking to someone else, remind yourself, this is a person who can think on their own. I may or may not agree with how this person thinks, and that's okay. Spending a quick moment to acknowledge this allows you to be more empathetic and understanding to those around you, and it lets you channel your focus to mind read more effectively. Speaking of which, the second tool we have is attention. Where is it that we concentrate our empathy? This can be determined by our physical or mental distance from things or other people. If I'm next to somebody and they make a face that they're hurt, it won't take me long to understand that something is wrong and that they need help. But let's say that someone was on the other side of the room. That distance delays my empathetic response, and it increases with how far away they are from myself. If I can't see a sad face, I won't switch into my mind reading mode. This is exactly why conversations on the internet get so heated. People aren't interacting face to face, and only with a username on screen. It's much easier getting mad at someone's dumb comments when you don't see the face of the person saying those remarks. And because we don't practice those skills, we get worse at turning the switch on. And this causes us to live consistently frustrating lives, where it seems like everyone around us is an idiot or evil. But the truth is, your lack of proximity to other people feeds on itself. Negative interactions you have online are not real life. Yes, they can have an effect on you, but that isn't a representation of what the real world is. The more attention you give to negativity, the more often you will be fed that by an algorithm, and it'll be harder to notice the good things you have. To combat this, you should take the time to practice gratitude. Focus on the things you appreciate about life and not the things that need to be changed. When you do this, you can see what your problems really are and how you can better support those around you by using your extra brain power. We often drain ourselves mentally by scrolling a lot on social media, interacting with polarizing content, and by trying to fill our hours with useless information, and never give ourselves the time to recharge. And with all this information distracting us, we don't all think about it in the same way, even if it has our combined attention, which leads us into the last part of mind reading: perception. The way we understand others' minds is through our own. And as mentioned earlier, this is why we tend to be biased. We may have learned to recognize others as thinkers, and we can give them our attention, but we still have to overcome our interpretation of them. We have to remove our filter. We tend to assume something from what is being said. This causes us to jump to conclusions that can often be wrong, because we perceive it all through our own lens. This problem is highlighted in Mindwise by Epley, where he writes, "You cannot simply try harder to view the world through the eyes of another and hope to do so more accurately, because the lens that biases your perceptions is often invisible to you." His work is the core basis and inspiration behind this video, so you should give it a read if this piqued your interest. We're so caught up in our own viewpoint that we don't remove ourselves from the center of the universe. Epley says that the way we truly get to know someone's mind is by asking them for their perspective. There's no need to play a guessing game of body language, nonverbal cues, or playing off of stereotypes. Everyone is a little different, and treating blanket statements as truth is a recipe to misinform ourselves about why people do what they do. Truthfully, being a mind reader is about the openness to be wrong and learn about somebody outside of yourself. Epley writes that our minds are like houses in their construction. You are consciously aware of your brain's finished products, conscious attitudes, beliefs, intentions, and feelings, but are unaware of the processes your brain went through to construct those final products, and you are therefore unable to recognize its mistakes. And when you understand that everyone lives a life in a seemingly finished mental landscape, it makes you more aware that you're not a singular being with the universe orbiting around you, but a house in a neighborhood of various sizes, shapes, and colors. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.